Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video.
We have boots on the ground in Israel. We have since last week or even longer. And they have the right to fire back now on this particular terrorist group that we're targeting, weeding out. Is this a war that we're going to go into support Israel? I'm sorry, you guys. I don't buy that. Not this time. And you know, does Israel have a right to fight back? Yeah, but I think they want a bigger fight. I think they're going after, I think they're maximizing this just like you had in the whole Ukraine idea. You know, and what are we going to do? We're going to send more money over. Who's going to pay that bill? We just sent over what, $97 billion more? Who's going to pay this bill? Who's going to pay this debt that America has? Our children, our grandchildren? No, they're going to feel this burden on their back with high taxes and high capital gains tax, as we mentioned already. And the effects of this are going to be high tax. We're going to be taxed higher next year because these people coming aren't necessarily a working class people. They weren't before, and they're not coming here now. They didn't work before, and they're not going to do it now. Some of them will. But I can tell you right now, go and look at the restaurant industry that's rid with Latinos, for example. They're still looking for employees. These people coming over aren't going to work. Well, you say, oh, they can't because they're illegal. Oh, come on. A lot of these people working in these areas are working illegally. And there's ways they can get fake green cards. And it doesn't take a whole lot of money to do it. And when they get here, it took them money to get here. It's at least $6,000. I know because I've talked to many people that just came through Mexico. $6,000. I hope to get back down to Ecuador and do these interviews we've been talking about for the last couple of months. But some things came up here, and I have to have a surgery that's going to put things off. A couple surgeries actually that's going to put things off for a few months to get down there. But I will get down there and follow up on these points. I want to conclude with this. What do we do about this? This is a plan to replace white culture. Why white culture? Well, because white culture is generally more disciplined, and it has been more disciplined. That's just the culture of it. And the facts are, I don't know why it's that way. And I'm not saying that just because I am white, and it's just the true fact. If you want to get real with that, and we have the same jealousies you had with the Lamanites of the Nephites, right? There was that same envy and jealousy because they were able to keep on the covenant path because of their culture and what they believed in and their discipline that they had. And that's just something that's carried forward. And we can break that down and go into it. I know the church tries to stay away from that now because of different issues. We're trying to kind of more of an apologetic stance. But I didn't want to say how we deal with this as Christians and as Latter-day Saints, this whole idea of mass migration or invasion. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with at the voting block. We need to get out and vote, because if we continue this way, if this administration stays in power, the same will happen to America. It's already happening in the major city. And that's why your major cities, like look at Oregon, for example. Portland itself is blue. And look at the chaos you got in Portland. Just last week, they burned 15 police cars, attacked the police station, and there's no respect for law. And these people coming here do not respect the law. And they're going to be used and instigated by these groups that are already here, BLM being one, to rise up and cause commotion and cause chaos, all in the name of diversity and humanitarianism. We have to be careful with the mercy that we try to extend, or that law we try to extend. And we need to be stoic and wise about that. And the only way we can be stoic and wise about that is if we take what the Lord had said to us in Section 88, 77-31, and we learn ourselves. Do your homework. Read Stolzhenitsyn's book on the Gulag Archipelago. Read that. Read how he went from being a favored policeman, a law enforcement personnel, if you will, to one incarcerated in gulags because he questioned the authorities. You're seeing that happen more and more. Now you're seeing people that on Facebook that don't like this current administration, and apparently people disguised, or they are FBI showing up and giving people warnings, verbal warnings. That's where our tax dollars at work. But who is that? Is it really the FBI? I don't know. I was listening to another podcaster. These two guys, these two black guys. They're really good. They're very great. They're great, and they say it how it is. They're twins. They have a good podcast, and they were talking about the same point of what we're talking about here, and I like to see that. So I don't have a problem. I think these guys are right on. I don't have a problem with skin color. People saw my wife, because some people accuse me of that. Well, you're just racist and discriminatory. No, man, sit down and have an intelligent conversation with me. You'll see that I'm far from that. My best friends, my wife, two of my kids, they're Latin culture. And, in my family, I have the whole LGBTQ issue. But I will say this, those that are tripping up on the whole LGBTQ issue are also they're also the ones in my family that are the ones very confused, and the ones that are really having a harder time with life and kind of live a lie, if you will, to go on every day. And the family is, having struggles as well. And that came from their mother. That came down from the actual parent, right? From not being responsible from parenting, which came from her parent. Her mother was the same way. So she later then mothered the same way her mother did, and enjoyed the fringe benefits you would of her sexual desires and appetite. And it's sad to watch. It's sad to watch this in my family. I've watched the divorce come of it and so forth. And I've watched these kids toil with this confusion because it's too diverse. You ever heard about, you go in someplace and the menu is so select, it's like, man, I don't know what I want. You sit there forever. And yet you go into In-N-Out, you got just a straightforward menu because you're going in and out because that's what you want. And you can order it. And it's a lot less of a confused, diverse menu, if you will, and straight to the meat, if you will. That's how America used to be. And America needs to be that way again. And we as Latter-day Saints and Christians are to be the voice of that America. That's a hard thing to do. And if you remain ignorant and bury your head in the sand, you won't be able to do it. Then you have to ask yourself, am I guilty of omission? Because I didn't participate? I feel good about myself? I bring into church neo-Marxist rhetoric, and I preach it across the pulpit because it sounds good, because that's what I'm hearing in the colleges and all the news channels and being promoted in ads. Hey, we need to get with the Spirit. We need to speak truth as our Lord did and always stand for truth. And it's a tough one right now because we do need to have those Lamanite descendants come here to help build this new Jerusalem, because we're going to continue going down a bad path if prophecy is fulfilled. And I don't see in the Book of Mormon where any hope was ever given for this great nation to ever recover itself. But if we don't maintain that freedom, my friends, brothers and sisters, the plan of our Heavenly Father, yes, can be frustrating. I don't know, here we hear often we can't, we've mentioned before, but it can be frustrating. Not the fact that it won't come about, but how many people are brought about into exaltation can be frustrated. If we give up those freedoms today, if the Bible's taken, if we have to rewrite the history of the Bible now, which has looked like the direction we're headed, you can say, oh, that's extreme. Eric, is it? How much more extremism do you need to see as an example? We're encouraging children to make sex changes now, and we're told we have to accept that as normal. Oh, give me a break. Come on. And any honest Christian needs to see that this is wrong, and these people need to get a grip on their lives and toughen up and straighten up and live a higher standard so that they can be brought back into a fold where they can feel the love that they actually want. They just don't know how to get it. And we're catering down to them and pushing them down, not lifting them up. But what we're doing right now, both in the church and in society. And I would venture to say we need to make a change there, or it's only going to affect more of our generations. Not only are our kids going to have all this debt they're going to have to pay, this burden of high taxation, like Canada now is going, what? Almost 70%, under 70% for capital gains tax. United States now next year is going to charge 25% of your unearned earnings of your capital gains, of your investments. Unreal. They tried doing this stuff in Costa Rica to us. We fought that tooth and nail. I had to get accountants to fight back the whole time. We get a contract. We get a positive contract. Contract's not to be executed for 5 more years. We were supposed to pay the actual earnings of that contract right then. And we don't know what the earnings are. We don't know what's going to happen in 5 years on the construction of the home, the labor cost, the material cost. You don't know what that's going to be. That's theft. That's property theft. And that's what this is all about. This is brought on by the Marxist agenda, and we should not be supporting anything that's socialist or Marxist. Contrary to what some people like to say, Hugh B. Brown argued, the fact is David O. McKay and President Benson, as the president of the Quorum of 12, were correct in their warnings when we were told, especially for President Benson, that they were not, that they were extremists. The communists, the Naked Communists, the book Naked Communists, that program written for BYU, sadly enough, should have been implemented in BYU, and we'd have a lot less confusion in the church today. But Joseph Philip Smith decided to pull it out because he didn't feel the members could handle it, and it would cause too much confusion. I advocate and plead with our leaders, stand for truth, and let the consequence fall where it may. Stand for truth and let the consequence fall where it may. The Lord always stood for truth and the right, and so should we, even when it's tough to do. You guys, do us a favor. If you like this kind of content, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, send us out to your friends. We're trying to grow this channel and the content, and we thank you for being with us today. And we'll see you next Saturday in our series of videos.